So we're looking at the highest common factor, and that's the abbreviation, or the lowest common multiple. So factors are the numbers that are the number itself and smaller numbers we can multiply together to get to a number. And the multiples start by that number times 1, and then it gets bigger from there, that number times 2, and furthermore. So HCF stands for highest common factor. We want to find the factors of two numbers, for example, 24 and 40. The first thing we have to do is find the factors of these two numbers. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8. It's a good thing I did that, because that means I've checked and I made sure I've included all the factors, including 24, the number itself. Factors of 40 are 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 tens, and 5 eighths. Now, looking between them, which is the highest number that they have in common? If I go along, because these are all in order, it makes it really clear to see. It looks like 8, because we don't have 12 in both of these lists. We don't have 20 in both of these lists. We don't have 24. So between 24 and 40, if I look at all the factors, the highest one that we have in common is 8. Unless I missed one, 8 is the highest common factor. So again, a factor is going to be smaller or the number itself. The lowest common multiple is going to start with that number, in this case 20, and it's going to be 20 times 1, 20 times 2, 20 times 3, and the same with the other number. So between 12 and 20, I wonder if you can see that the lowest common multiple is the first one that we come to in common. It's not that one. Does 40 appear in this group? No. Is 24 in that group? No. If I go through and check, the first one that we have in common is going to be the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple of 12 and 20 is 60. Notice that that's a multiple. It's going to be a bigger number. The lowest common multiple of two numbers can always be found by multiplying the two numbers together and dividing by the highest common factor. We can do, to find the lowest common multiple of 12 and 20, we can multiply these two numbers together. And then we divide them by 4. So these are the two numbers. I'm going to multiply them by each other. And that's going to give me a multiple, but it's not going to be the lowest common multiple. The next step is to divide by the highest common factor, and that's where the 4 came in. So that's another way to do the same thing. So to find the highest common factor of 36 and 48, I'm going to write all the factors, because I'm looking for factors, of 36 and 48. Pretty sure I got them, because 1 times 36, 2 times 18, I'm going to make sure I have a connector on either side, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6 is 36. 6 is a factor of 36, but I only need to write it one time. So these are the factors of 36, and the factors of 48, I'm going to do the same thing. And then again, I can do my rainbow and match them up. And what am I looking at? I want to find the highest common factor. So both highest common factor and lowest common multiple are kind of the closest to each of these two numbers that we're going to get. So the highest common factor is as close to 36 and 48 as we're going to get. And looking at my list, looks like 12. 12 is the one that's closest to 36 and closest to 48 that is in common. So I put therefore. I don't know if we've seen these little dots before. These three little dots mean therefore. Therefore, I'm clarifying 12 is the highest common factor of 36 and 48. That's me being really clear about what my answer is. And when you do that on a test, I'm going to know that this is it. Now I want to find the lowest common multiple of the following pairs. And I'm going to work them out. So first multiple of 5 is 5. Somebody say stop? Ah, you're right, because as you can see, 11, 22, they're all doubles. And so once I reach the one that was a double, this is the first multiple that's in common. So therefore, 55 is the lowest common multiple of 5 and 11. That's my and sign. And I wonder if we could use the other method for this one. If we want to find out the lowest common multiple, like it says here, of any two numbers, we can multiply them together and divide by their highest common factor. It means we have to do a little extra work. but I think it'll work. I think it'll work. Does anybody know off the top of their head what it would be? The multiples of 6. If we just went along multiples of 6, we'd stop when we get one that's got a 0 on it, on the end of it. Because anything with 0 on the end of it is divisible by 10. I'll do it both ways. 30. Yeah, I should have stopped on the other one, because this is the first one we get to in common, so that's the lowest common multiple. To use the other way, I can find a multiple like this by multiplying them together and then dividing that by the highest common factor, which means I have to find out the factors. I'm guessing the highest common factor between 6 and 10, doing it in my head, I think it's 2. I'm going to guess that it's 2. So order of operations, I'm going to go from left to right. 6 times 10 is 60. 60 divided by 2 is 30. I got the same answer. So either way it works, and that's how we can get our lowest common multiple. And these are the questions we then need to work on.